Robert, we were hearing there about what a dire quarter it was for crypto VC and for crypto allocations. Does any of it look better going into Q3, do you think?
Honestly, we think it will look better. Like Hannah just mentioned, a lot of these crypto VC funds, they have to deploy capital into space. Part of the slowdown is that the diligence cycles just slowed down. So you look at in 2021 and 2022, some of those deals were happening in a 1 week or 2 week time frame.
And that's i.e. not much due diligence.
Exactly, right? And so now investors are taking the time, meeting the teams, meeting the founders, understanding the business model, understanding the product market fit, and then they're going to deploy capital. What we're looking at and talking about those crypto venture funds, last year alone, there's $25 billion raised for crypto native funds. That capital has to be deployed over the next 2 to 4 years. So investors have some time because they just raised those fresh funds in 2022. But we think that as investors start to get comfortable with the different business models, the different opportunities in the crypto space, they're going to start deploying more. And then our outlook at the beginning of the year is that we're going to see an uptick in the second half of 2023, and it's going to bottom up around sometime in the summer, and we're seeing that right now.
It's so interesting to compare and contrast what's happening right now in AI and what happened in crypto. Ashton Kutcher was on Bloomberg Technology a few weeks ago saying he raised his $232 million fund in just 5 weeks. And we're basically talking about crypto so broadly, just like we talk about AI broadly. Are there any bright spots, specific areas in the underlying technology or marketplaces where there is still activity for crypto?
Yeah, there are a few areas that investors are still really excited about and deploying capital in right now. And it's really 3 broad categories. Infrastructure, so you're looking at the underlying blockchains and the scaling solutions to make the blockchains faster and having higher throughput. The service providers, so you think about a lot of institutional, traditional financial institutions are still moving into the crypto space. And we just heard about BlackRock and Fidelity refiling for the Bitcoin spot ETF. So there's a lot of institutional interest. So what are the technologies and software and services you can provide to help institutions move into this space? Custodians is one type of technology, or prime brokerage, or trading services, anything that can help them better facilitate their entrance into the space and providing service to their customers. And the last area is what we call, and we just wrote research on this space, it's called decentralized physical infrastructure networks. I know it's a really long term, we call it DPIN, and it's any kind of real world infrastructure that can facilitate tokens to be able to provide services. You can think about decentralized servers, mobile networks. So decentralized servers, Hannah just mentioned Jensen, they do a decentralized computing for training AI models. That's just an example, and they can use tokens to have anyone that has a computer can help facilitate and contribute power and compute to that network.
Kind of like an AI version of Filecoin.
Exactly, that's exactly what they're doing.
I'm interested in where these things are getting built, because crypto is decentralized, it's also global, and there was a bit of sort of regulatory arbitrage going on at one point. Is that still happening? Are some of the founders moving off, going out of the US?
Honestly, that is the narrative. We just don't see that happening. We think that the talent largely is still here in the US. A lot of the founders are still building here, and they're recruiting talent here in the U.S. A lot of folks talk about the strict regulations that's happening right now with, the SEC, CFTC, the Fed all coming after crypto. Yeah. That, I think, is not going to push founders to move abroad. And I'll give you a quick example. We know in Europe, typically their regulations are a lot more progressive. We know even with fintech, you look at PSD2 and open banking that happened a few years ago, a lot of folks said that fintech innovation is going to move to Europe. We never saw that happen. Still, a lot of the fintech innovations happening here in the US, and we expect the same for crypto.
There we have it, Ed. So all our talk of the founders leaving not happening, but things can move so quickly, right?
Yeah, I guess the question I have, Robert, is when's the rebound for crypto come? What moves the needle?
Yeah, it's going to be mostly the funding, okay? Because startups right now, they need funding to grow and scale. So at what point will investors get comfortable? And our call still holds is that it's going to be sometime towards the end of this year. So as what investors are looking at, what projects are building the strongest products out there? And what are their underlying business models, and how are they getting product market fit? And then the ones that are going to get that are going to get the funding. And we're going to expect to see that towards the end of this year. So, the rebound's hard to say, but we're hoping sometime next year, early 2025, you're going to start seeing a lot more capital and a lot more founders coming into the space to build.